What is going on, Internet? It's viewer question time. Now, I am the masked man, in case you were wondering. And I got a comment. I got a comment in the comment section, and that comment was for a video. It was a video question, so I will answer the question. Now, I'm reading this off of YouTube, so bear with me. It's not very long. It's not going to take me a long time to read it. I'm going to read the question and then I'm going to answer it. Okay. I'd like to offer a question, colon. Is it right is in quotations, to prevent someone from committing suicide, assuming you have the power to? Are you denying their right to die, also in quotes, or freedom to choose death over life, comma, their self-determination of a sort? Are you imposing your ideas slash feelings on the person, supplanting their thoughts and feelings? Would you be implying or overtly stating that they are not rational because they are in a sad state of mind, and that you are in a good state of mind and so are in a better position to make that choice? Would better state of mind always choose not to commit suicide? Is it possible to think at length about it and conclude that it is the best and only solution? Is there a social duty to prevent suicide? How much responsibility, if at all, do we bear one another in society? Some might argue there is no moral difference, Alden Bold, between letting someone die and killing them. Are we saving a life or curtailing someone's freedom to choose? Should we be lauded for attempting to save a life? Should we be vilified for turning a blind eye? If the person's misery remains a constant torment for the rest of their life, that they have been repeatedly talked out of ending, does that mean we have sentenced them to a kind of hell? Would they be better off, in quotes, committing suicide, assuming death means no pain and living means constant anguish? Would you try to talk someone out of jumping off a bridge to their death? This scenario, there's a arrow, and it says this scenario when it's not risky to you and when it is risky to you. Both not risky and risky is in bold. Does it matter if the person is good or evil? Suppose one person on the bridge is a pedophile, another person a drug dealer, another person a prolifer. Now, I know I sound like a smart nigga, but I don't know all the goddamn words in the world. Profligate, PROFLIGATE, profligate gambler, and a final one is a philanthropist. Okay, that's the question. Okay, how am I doing on time? About 4 minutes. All right. So the question for the day is it right to prevent somebody from committing suicide? Now, when it comes to a question like this, it's things are not always, simple. It's not always as simple as yes or no. Some things have nuance. A religious person may tell you, well, the Bible said that God doesn't want you to kill, and if He don't want you to kill, then He don't want you to kill yourself, and your life is not your own. Your life belongs to the Lord, and if you give it up, then you're going to hell. Some people may say that. But here's what I'll say to your question. I'll say, is it right to prevent somebody from committing suicide? The answer is it depends. It depends. It depends on the situation. Because it is not always, it's very, killing yourself, committing suicide is very rarely a legitimate, rational response to what's going on in life. It's very rarely, it very rarely makes logical sense. Now, is it right to prevent some, because I'm stuck on that, because I don't know if you know about me, but I'm not a person, I'm not a man of morals. I'm not the moral guy. That's not what I do. I'm just trying to figure out what works. And as far as a society goes, as far as a world, as far as a community, the world people, and I would be a person, need other people. Other lives are meaningful and they are valuable to a society functioning. If there was this massive, you know, if there was this mass movement of millions of people committing suicide, that would be bad for me personally. And that would be bad for a lot of other people who wanted to live, because those people have jobs. Those people have, those people may have children that then need to be taken care of. They may have debts that they're running away from, and now those debts have to be passed on. They Killing yourself leaves carnage to other people who are alive. So, as far as a society, if there was a suicide epidemic to where tens of millions of people were committing suicide consecutively, that would be harmful for people who were alive. That would adversely impact their lives. That would adversely affect the economy. That would adversely affect people's general sense of well-being. That would affect a lot of people, and something would need to change in order to prevent the society from collapsing, because that would create an issue of national security. That would create a political situation if it was just happening in one country. If one particular country was having a massive amount of people committing suicide, that may seem like that nation is weak or that nation is oppressive, and that may make other nations center in and focus on it. So I think your question was, centered at an individual, like a couple of people, or maybe this person, that person. But I like to think about the large picture. And in the large picture, if you're talking about, is something good or bad, right or wrong, well, let's multiply it by 100 times. Let's multiply it by 1,000,000 times, and let's see what it looks like then. Let's see what it looks like at that point, at that level. How does it look to us when it's magnified? But to bring it back down from the macro to the micro, is it bad or good to let an individual die, a single person die? Again, I think it depends, because I said before that there are very few rational reasons for a person to want to kill themselves. If somebody tells you that they want to kill themselves, then number one, that is a cry for help, because generally people who have an intention, or people who seek to do something, or people who have a goal, or people who have a mission, they don't feel some type of need to communicate their actions. Example, if I want to open up a business, I'm not going to go around telling all of my friends and family and associates and Facebook and church members that I'm going to open up a business. That's what an attention whore does. if I'm serious, if I really intend, if I really mean to open up a business, the only people I'm gonna tell are the people are the people who are going to have some level of involvement in the process. I may tell a bunch of friends and family members that I'm opening up a business, but the only reason that I would be telling them is because I need money for to start the business up. So I need to tell them that I'm going to start a business, and I need to ask them for a loan. Now, I can either explain in detail what the loan is for, or I cannot. Me wanting to open up a business and me being serious about opening up a business doesn't mean that my idea has to be good or has to be sound or has to make any sense. But the approach that I take, if I'm serious, it's about getting it done and making it happen. I'm not just trying to talk a bunch of shit to anybody who's willing to listen. So if you are aware that somebody wants to commit suicide, then they're looking for attention. They want you to know there's a reason why they're telling you that they want to kill themselves. And they probably are looking for you to talk them out of killing themselves. So let's go a little further. When I think about legitimate reasons to kill yourself, the first thing that pops into my mind is Huntington's disease. Now, if you've never heard of Huntington's disease, that's something you should look up. Huntington's disease is a terrible, terrible disease. Now, I'm not sure if I'm getting this mixed up because Huntington's disease, regardless of it, if I'm getting it mixed up with some other disease, is terrible if I'm confusing it with something else. But to my knowledge, to my recollection, if you get Huntington's disease, at the advanced stages of Huntington's disease, your entire body becomes immobile. You can't move anything, face anything, and you're in pain. So you're basically aware. You can't speak, you can't move, you can't function. You're in a lot of pain and you're conscious and you can't even communicate anything to anyone. If somebody was in the early stages of that, and there is no cure for Huntington's disease, and there's not really any good treatment for Huntington's disease. If somebody who was diagnosed with Huntington's disease and it was early on in their progression and they said that they wanted to kill themselves, then I think I can understand why they don't want to live with that, because they may be a person who is able to take care of themselves, who is able to look after themselves. And at some point in the future, not only are they going to be in horrible pain, but they are going to be completely at the mercy of other people. And if you know anything about people and how people treat the weak, then being at the mercy and the benevolence and having to rely on the benevolence of other people is a horrible place to be. That is the worst place in the world you want to be. And to be actually helpless, to be actually defenseless against people who you need to keep you alive and keep you sane in a body that doesn't work, that doesn't function. Maybe you need people to sit you up and talk to you and put drops in your eyes. Maybe there's a way that you could live with it, but you would have to completely rely on people being good and people doing their job the way that they are supposed to do it. That is a hell of a gamble in people. So if Huntington's disease came to me and said, I want to kill myself because I've been diagnosed, it runs in my family, I thought that maybe I wouldn't get it, and I got it, and I'm already getting the symptoms. My mother had it. I watched her wither away and die from it. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to go out like this. I got to get out of this before it gets too bad. I don't know if I can, I don't know. I don't, I'm like, do you, homie? Do you? I can't tell you to live with that. I can't tell you that you're supposed to go through with that. I can't tell you that it's right to stick it out and have hope. If that's your life, if you got a horrible disease that's only going to result in horrible pain, then I can't tell you to suck it up. And there's a bunch of other diseases that are horrible, but when I think about the worst thing that that could possibly happen to you, when I think about the absolute worst, that's the thing that pops into my head. Like, because everything, if you have kidney failure, you have lung disease, you have a bunch of other diseases, they may be incredibly painful, but at least you can communicate, at least you can talk, at least you can move, at least you can take care of yourself to some degree. And maybe there's occasional relief from it. But that's just the worst shit that's ever happened to mankind. That's the worst disease ever. So if somebody didn't want to live with that, what right do I have to tell them that they have to? What right do I have to tell them that they have to live with that? Because I don't want to see them die. I don't have the authority to tell them that they got to live with that hell, that they got to live with that misery, because I'm not living it. I'm not in that body. I don't have to feel that pain. I don't have to go through that. So if it's a situation like that, if it's one of many different types of diseases like that, then it's very understandable for somebody to want to commit suicide and wanting to leave this life because it's just too much. Now, let me deal with the rest of this. Are you denying their right to die or their freedom to choose death over life? Most people who are sane, most people who are healthy mentally don't want to just die. There's no logical reason why somebody just wants to die. Like, say, hey man, I just had a birthday, had a great time, was with a lot of great friends. 23 years old. I'm actually 26. I'm 23 years old. I think it's time to hang it up. I think this is the bench. I think this is the mark. I think this is as good as things are ever going to get. I better kill myself now, because it's like, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for somebody to just want to kill themselves randomly. Like, somebody randomly wanting to kill themselves is very strange and it's very unusual. People who are sane want to live. I don't care if you have a problem with that statement that sane people want to live, but it's the truth. Sane people want to live. Now, they may want to live without whatever problems that they have, and they may not believe that the problem that they have is a problem that they can get rid of, and they may not want to live with that problem. But sane people generally want to live and want to find ways to keep on living. So if somebody is relatively young and physically healthy and they want to commit suicide, that's people need to get involved, and people need to get in the middle of that. Because I'll say this, you just can't let people die. You don't know what somebody is going through. Sometimes people can have a mental breakdown. Sometimes people can be stressed, People can be going through things that are, people can be overburdened by, responsibilities. They can be overburdened by regular shit. It's regular shit, but they just overtaxed. They're just psychologically stressed to the fraying point, and now they're fried, and they intend to do something extreme. But if somebody could have interceded, if somebody could have intercepted them, then they would have gotten back right mentally. They would have gotten back to a stable point and not wanting to commit suicide. So I think if anybody wants to commit suicide, I think that, damn what you want. Damn your choice. You gotta go through getting help first, because this society needs people, and you don't get to just kill yourself willy-nilly whenever you feel like it, if we can do something about it now. If it is now, because I'm hoping that you're watching this all the way through. Now, if it is determined that you are sane, as far as people who are qualified to make those kind of determinations can see, because a lot of mass murderers, a lot of serial killers, they are sane people. They eat motherfuckers, they kill women and bury them in their backyard, but they are sane. They know the implications of their actions. They have thought through every step, and they are sane. They are not insane people. They are not mad. They're just evil. They're not crazy. If you just want to kill yourself because you do, and you're sane, then I guess that if we're talking about an individual, if we're talking about a person, then that should be allowed to happen. It's like I cannot prevent a person from making a choice that they want to make. I just have to make sure that that person is sure and that person is certain about the choice that they're making, because their choice affects other people. Their choice brings other people into it. So I don't want them making a decision that's going to last forever off of something that's very temporary and very transient. So I think that if somebody is letting you know that they want to commit suicide, letting you know that they want to kill themselves, then the best thing possible is to try to intervene at some level, and to get as thorough of an evaluation of their state of mind and what they are going through and the reasons why. And then after that, I don't think somebody should be in prison because they want to commit suicide. I don't think somebody who is sane, who wants to commit suicide, should be stopped. I think if they really want that, and if that's what they really want, then that's what they really want. So I don't feel that their liberty should be robbed from them. It's their life, and if they want to end it, then they have the ability to end it. Some may argue that there's no moral difference between letting them die and killing them. I don't agree with that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not the man of morals, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree that letting someone die and killing them is the same thing. This video is kind of long, so I'm not going to get into that. Are we saving a life or curtailing? Should we be lauded? Like, if a person's misery remains a constant torment for the rest of their life. I covered that. I covered them living in a kind of hell with the Huntington's disease. Okay, now let me answer the final question. Would you try to talk someone off of jumping a bridge to their death? Okay, if the situation is not risky to me, yeah. If it's not risky to me, yeah, I would try to talk somebody from off of jumping a bridge. If it is risky to me, no, no, I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's my family member. I don't give a fuck. If there's any possibility that I'm gonna die, I don't give a fuck. You're gonna die. I don't care. I want to live. I'm not risking my life for you. I don't care if that makes me a bad person or not. Um, does it matter if the person is good or evil? Now you brought up a bunch of different things. You brought up a pedophile, a drug dealer, a a pro a profligate gambler, and a philanthropist. Okay, now I don't know how you standing on a bridge know any of this. I don't know how you know any of this information. I don't know how you would be aware of if they were a pedophile, a drug dealer, a gambler, or a philanthropist. But I look at it like this. If you're a firefighter and you make it your job to take people out of fires, you don't discriminate who you rescue from a fire. You just rescue people from a fire. If you're the type of person who saves people from jumping off of bridges and you don't care if it puts your life at risk, then you're the type of people who saves the pedophile, the drug dealer, or the whatever. Now, good and evil is is a very subjective thing. You know what is good or who is evil. Um, saying that somebody is good and evil, if they're jumping off of a bridge, they may be jumping off of a bridge because they feel guilty about what they've done or they don't like themselves. Implying that you should let somebody die because of bad that they've done in their life implies that there are certain people who are above redemption, who are who are beyond redemption, who can never be redeemed in the eyes of society, who can never come back into the fold, who can never be accepted again. Now, in your list, I only think that one of these groups, the general consensus would really be okay with them forever being banished from society, and that's a pedophile. But even them, and the drug dealer, and the profligate gambler, and the philanthropist, people have the ability beyond being good or bad, good or evil. Beyond that, they have the potential to be useful to society. They have the potential to do for people what people really need and what people can really benefit from. There's an old cliche, I think. I think it's an old cliche, and it goes something like this. I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember it exactly. The greatest treasures on earth is buried in the cemetery, meaning that so many people go to the grave without really living up to their potential, without really becoming and accessing the brilliance that is within their mind, the brilliance that is within their brain, and the capacity that they have. So many people are cut off from the best that they have to offer, and they go to the grave without ever giving the world all of the good gifts that they can give. Now, I think I wanted to make some type of video about prison. And I don't know if I ever inserted this in any video, and I may make a video about prison. But I believe that prisons, instead of being a punishment house where we treat human beings like animals and cause them to fight each other and make them suffer as much as we possibly can, a prison should be like the greatest university on planet Earth, Because at the end of the day, we want these people to come back into society and be useful. We need things. We need cures for diseases. We need great philosophy. We need great musicians. We need great entertainers. We need great philosophers. We need great lawmakers. We need great doctors. And if you're in a place where you're isolated from the public and you have virtually unlimited time to sit and read, to sit and think, to sit and talk, then it should be school. You should be learning all of the things necessary to be the best and the most productive person you could be, so that when you come so that when you come out, you can be very productive and you won't give in to urges that take away other people's freedom, other people's, virtue, other people's liberty, so that you won't rob them of their right to choose, and so that you won't ruin their lives by what you need from them and what you need to do to them. You will have some self-control and some discipline and some intellect, and you can be able to produce, and you not necessarily have a code of being moral, but you'll just have an ability to express yourself in a way that helps the people you're around and benefits people, instead of robbing people and taking from people and stealing from people and abusing people. You won't be an abuser of people or a thief from people. You will help people. So the pedophile, the drug dealer, the gambler, those are all people who potentially, under the right supervision, under the right kind of school, can turn their life around. People who are familiar with the Nation of Islam, they get a lot of credit for turning some of the worst criminals that the world has ever seen into very upstanding men, respectable men. So there is a process that exists that will allow for somebody to change, that will allow for somebody to live better. We all know about the military. The military will turn, humble young men into violent, cutthroat, cold-blooded killers. With soulless, merciless killers. So, who fight to protect their country and their ideals and what they believe in. They have that kind of structure. So it is possible to alter, behavior. It is possible to alter people. So to let evil people die, people are useful. People are more useful than we give them credit for. People have more talents than we give them credit for. People have more skills than we give them credit for. And we shouldn't just be tossing away people like they're garbage. People are as evil as they are allowed to be. A lot of people make Stalin and Hitler kind of like the faces of the most evil men in the world. But what people don't like to talk about is how it took a nation of people who were okay with what they were doing to make their behavior possible. It took a nation of bad people for them to be able to function. It took a nation of people who condoned their behavior. It took a whole nation. They didn't do it. They weren't, Hitler wasn't throwing Jews in gas chambers one by one. Stalin wasn't shooting everybody himself. They had a lot of people who were down to do it. So in some cases, people would be more evil they would be more bad if there was some kind of environment that facilitated them being bad. I think that the pedophiles, the drug dealers, the whatever, we have to take those people and put them in an environment to where they will become something that society can use, society can benefit from, that we can benefit from all of the destruction and the havoc that they've wreaked. Because sending them to jail to be punished or letting them jump off of a bridge, it does not benefit humanity. Why do you get the right to ruin the world and then leave it on your own terms? You don't get that right. You don't get to just wreak havoc and then leave it because you decide that you didn't want to do it no more. No, you got to atone. And atonement isn't punishment, because if I punish you for what you did wrong, then that means your suffering is equal to the damage that you did. And it's not. If you cut off, like I say, if you cut my finger off, your death isn't enough for me. If you meant to do it, if you intentionally cut my pinky finger off, then if you got treated like a slave on the worst plantation that the world has ever known for 50 years, that would not be enough suffering to me, even if I got my pinky back. So your suffering, it means something to who it means something to, but it doesn't change what you did or how people feel about what you did. Your character and your personality and what motivated you to be evil has to be turned into something that's beneficial. Because if you broke a law or if you are harming other people in society, then society now has to confiscate the freedom that you had, take your freedom away because you are hurting other people with your freedom, and make you and mold you and turn you into something that the world can use. So I think that's the best answer I can give you. I think that's the best I got for your question. I don't know how well I answered your question, but I do the best I can. I'm feeling a little better. My lower back really hurts, because I just got a job, Masked Man got a job where I'm basically, doing stuff. I'm on my feet, for most of my shift. I'm on my feet. I don't want to give away what I do because I'm not trying to tell you the city that I live in Louisiana, but just know I'm in Louisiana and I'm working a little minimum wage job, making a couple of dollars. But that's my answer to your question. To the blunted alien, that's my answer. I didn't give your name in the beginning. It was an oversight. Let me know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments. You can rate the video, like it, dislike it, be honest. You can subscribe to my channel to keep up with the videos that I'm making. If there is any subject that you want me to cover, if there's any story that you want me to talk about, you can send me an email at themrmaskman@gmail.com. No relationship questions, please. You can follow me on Twitter and find me on Facebook at the Mr. Masked Man. That is all I have to say about this subject, and I will see you in the next video.